You're watching Fugitive Red Eye, and welcome to another exciting episode of Tales from the Drive-Thru, the series where I share my stories of my various exploits and adventures in the workplace. Now, this one is going to be a first. First off, it's going to be from my current job, which I've done before, but second off, it literally just happened last night, so that's one thing that makes it kind of unique. Usually there's a little bit more time between these. Now, before I get into the story, some background on what I do for those of you who might not remember. I'm a supervisor in a shipping warehouse, similar to the likes of UPS and FedEx, but on a smaller scale. And before we get into what happened last night, I'm gonna have to get into what happened Friday night. Now I wasn't at work on Friday night, so who knows, maybe if I was there this would have been different, because I do typically, when I leave, drive through the parking lot to make sure that all the doors are closed and everything, just as like a precaution. But suffice to say, once the crew went inside and were basically done for the night, a car with a couple guys in it that pulled up to one of our trailers. For background, with our trailers, we seal them with these little yellow bolt seals that, like, you know, you have to use bolt cutters to cut off. And these guys came in with a hacksaw and hacked off the bolt seal, and then they stole a bunch of boxes out of the trailer. And then they took the boxes to a different warehouse's parking lot, opened them, and stole all the shit out of them. So then they left the boxes there. My boss actually had to go and pick up those empty boxes so, you know, they can, you know, find out what the losses are and stuff like that. See, that's crazy. In my 6 years working there, this is the first time I've seen a trailer of ours get robbed. Now, there were two cars that they thought were potentially involved with this robbery. There's a maroon car that was there, and the guy was just parked there the whole time. And then there's a silver car. Now, the maroon car, they found out, actually is a guy who works for our morning shift, but is a homeless guy, so he was literally just sleeping in the lot. So, my boss no longer thinks that guy was involved. Yeah, they did have the police talk to that guy and confirm that he did indeed work there. But the silver car was the one that actually had the people get out and steal stuff for sure. Technically, this isn't the first time we've had stuff stolen there. Like, there was a time that a friend of mine's car got broken into and, like, a camera was stolen out of the back of his car and his sketchbook was stolen. But this is the first time a trailer was robbed. Now, it's not the first time a trailer was stolen from, because if you remember in a previous episode, I talked about there was a manager that actually used to steal stuff from the company, and there was actually a truck driver that would steal stuff from the company too by opening its trailer and stealing the stuff out, which is why we switched to the bolt seals, because we used to use these dinky little plastic ones, then a driver would steal stuff. So this is the first one that happened at our facility, because the other driver was a guy in Reno. But anyway, so that happened Friday night, and then Saturday they had one of our hostlers, he's the guy who moves the trailers, they had him stay all night and kind of watch the lot. And so he watched the lot on Saturday night. And then yesterday, which would be Sunday, I was going in for my normal shift on Sundays, which, you know, we have a rotation. I don't work every Sunday, but I'm in a rotation, which is currently supposed to be every third Sunday, now that we got our other lead back. But anyway, that's beside the point. I was going in at 3:30. I usually leave around anywhere between 7 and 10, depending on, you know, how busy it is. On a good day, I'll leave at 7. On average, I leave around 8. But my boss texted me before work, asking me to, if I could stay until 2 a.m. Now, I'm like, why 2? She said, well, that's when the AM guy comes in, so you can swap out with him. They just wanted someone there to watch the lot and play security guard, right? Just kind of watch the lot. Then she told me if I did that, I wouldn't have to come in today. So, yeah, I did it. I stayed until 2 a.m. last night. So, yeah, I decided, yeah, I'll play security guard. Sure, it could be fun. Obviously, they told me not to confront these guys if I saw them, but to just call the police and then call management so that they knew what was going on. So then I went in, I met up with my boss's boss who was there. He's the general manager. And he's the one who was telling me, kind of gave me a brief, showed me the cars. Then we saw the maroon car was there, so then he called the police and had them talk to him. Then kind of cleared him in his mind that it was just, you know, a worker who's homeless but was sleeping in the lot. And then I just did my normal Sunday shift. I finished all the stuff around 10. Normally, I could have theoretically been out of there a lot earlier had it been just a regular shift, because normally I don't wait for all the drivers to show up and pick up their loads. I just leave their paperwork with their trailers. But obviously, due to the security reasons, I was there the whole time dispatching all the drivers. So I saw all the drivers, gave them all their stuff, and then checked out with dispatch. And then after that, it was just a whole lot of waiting. So while I was there, I smoked a cigar, walked around the parking lot while doing it. I DoorDashed some Jack in the Box, which I hadn't eaten since I was like 9, and I realized that Jack in the Box tacos are like exactly the same as those shitty Burger King tacos that I love. So now I'm probably gonna get them a lot more often now that I know that, because I fucking love those awful tacos. There was a point where I went back inside after smoking a lot of the cigar, and then it went out, obviously, and I brought a box of matches with me to light it. I went through the entire box of matches relighting it because they're these shitty kitchen matches that were really cheap, and like a lot of them either wouldn't light or didn't stay lit for very long. Another thing worth mentioning is for most of the night it was raining really hard. Basically the entire time I was actually doing my regular Sunday work, it was just constantly pouring. So I had to borrow a rain poncho from the office and throw that on because it was fucking like bad. Like all the paperwork I gave out to the drivers got at least a little wet. I did my best to keep everything dry, but it was a pain in the ass. But by the time I finished my regular Sunday duties and was just on to my quasi-security guard patrol, rain had stopped, so that was nice. So yeah, I smoked the cigar, walked around the whole building, ate my Jack in the Box, listened to a bunch of videos on my phone, obviously. Got in my car, did a couple of patrols around the lot with my car a couple of times. And my boss actually gave me access to the security cameras, so for part of it, I also watched the security cameras on her computer, which, you know, made it feel even more like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Guys? Is this Freddy Fazbear? Arr, 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 arr.
Because when I mentioned to my Discord server that I was going into work and, you know, having to play security guard, everyone kept making jokes that, you know, it's just like Five Nights at Freddy's. But yeah, I checked the security cameras a bit. I did a few foot patrols of the lot. I went out with my clipboard and, you know, sort of took stock of all the trailers we had there. Overall, it wasn't super eventful. There was one car at around midnight that wigged me out a little bit, but it didn't actually come into our lot, but it kind of like pulled up towards it and then left. So maybe he saw me and left. I can't confirm that it was the same car, so I didn't call anyone. It never came into our lot. Also, I saw a bunch of cars in other warehouse lots that I'm like, it was wigging me out. I was just like, obviously, I'm a paranoid guy, so a lot of things put me on edge. Like, when I was watching the security cameras, I saw a cat moving, and that kind of tripped me out until I realized it was a cat. Also, because of the rain, my socks got fucking soaked, so now my feet have, like, dry skin on them, and it's really irritating. I kept my clothes mostly dry, but somehow my socks got soaked. To be fair, I did kind of play in puddles, because, like, as I was waiting in the lot, I was kind of jumping around and being stupid, so, you know, there is that. Yeah, as I had hoped, nothing really happened, which is good, because, you know, obviously, I'm not gonna fucking put my life on the line for anything there. Which, granted, they don't expect me to. They said just call the police and, you know, don't confront. Also, when I was borrowing a rain poncho from the office, I borrowed one at first that was really tiny and I could hardly move in it, so when I went back in, I switched it out for a much bigger one that was way better. I was also really tired by the end of it. Like, it didn't really feel like it was, like, extensive or anything, and I usually go to bed pretty fucking late. But I went to bed, like, maybe like an hour after I got home. Like, I went to bed real quick. Which, I mean, is good, because I'm tired of going to bed at, like, 6, so going to bed at, like, 3 was a lot better. But nevertheless, yeah, I fucking crashed when I got home. Also, I left more of the cigar than I would have liked because I used up all my matches. I still smoked most of it, but, you know, it was just a smidge more than I would have wanted to waste. Yeah, that's my story all about how my life got turned upside down. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good one. Toodles!
I'm a bit of an elbow man myself, actually. Bit different, bit weird. Not sexual.
You take forever to say nothing.
Subscribe to Fugitive Red Eye.